Hey everybody, my name is Ruth and welcome to a little build challenge video. I did this a little while ago and I recorded it because I thought it would be fun. I did one of Plumbella's build challenges in The Sims 4. I'm not very good at playing The Sims 4. I'm not very good at the gameplay of it. I should be. I should be better, but I'm not. And so I really just love building. I love the building of The Sims. So I did one of Plumbella's build challenges that you can see that I'm doing here. I'll tell you more about it in a minute. You can also see that I didn't know how to turn the seasons off, so I'm literally building in the snow. And you'll see in a little bit that I figure out how to make it so that it's actually green outside, so I can see what I'm doing, which is nice. So forgive me for that. But with the Plumbella build challenges, it's just a website. You look her up, Plumbella Sims 4, and then it'll be like a website, and it will randomly generate a Sims 4 build challenge for you to do. It'll have specifications like how many floors you can have, how many. Oh, look, I'm hitting the green now. Good for me. Anyway, I you how many Sims it has to house, things like that, and then it'll give you a challenge, things that are hard. So the challenge that I got, you can see that I was building it from the roof down. One might wonder why I built the roof first. That was the disadvantage that I had in this build challenge, that I had to build it from the roof down, which was pretty difficult. And then because I'm an insane, I guess, I also decided to make it a diagonal house because I felt like it and I'd never done it before. Well, it went decently, I think. Anyway, so my disadvantage was that I needed to build it from the roof down. So check on that. Good for me. I did that already. Um, I needed to have the building style of my house be clean girl. I'm not sure how great of a job I did that since I put 7 men in this house. I didn't really. Anyway, the color themes were warm tones. So I said that's not very hard. Wood is warm. I mean, not all wood, but I used warm tones. It has to have one floor and one room, which is where I got into a bit of a problem because the next thing is that it needs to house 7 Sims. So you can see I have 7 men sitting on the sidewalk there. And I only have this one floor to work with, and I can only have one room, which means the bathroom and the bedroom all have to be connected to the kitchen dining area. My budget for this house was 32,415 simoleons, and you can see down in the corner that I've got that. It's taken down slowly and slowly. That door that I just finally decided on, I'm pretty sure that I changed it again back to the red door later on because it was just too big and I couldn't fit anything inside next to it. So um, I think that's funny. The last thing is that it wanted me to include a coffee or tea machine and a puppet theater. And then she said, "Good luck, babe. XOXO Plumbella," which is really nice and really sweet. It says that at the end of every challenge, but I still think it's nice. Um, so here I am trying to decide what windows I should put on because I wanted to stay with that warm tone, but then I also wanted to choose windows that were cheap because if any of you have ever done a build challenge on The Sims before and had a limited budget, it can be really easy to use the whole entire budget. And I wanted to choose cheap windows because I wanted to be able to put a lot of windows in. Art costs so much money. I guess not just in The Sims, it also costs a lot of money in real life. Art is so expensive. So, I wanted to choose good windows so that I could put windows everywhere and then I would have to put less art on the walls inside. I'm thinking ahead. I literally am pretty sure that these top windows that I was trying to figure out, I don't think I ever landed on one that I really wanted until the end of the build. I was like, I don't know what to put up there at the top. And then I found something later on. But with the windows, I decided I wanted to go with these basic base game shuttered windows, and I could have some be closed and some be open to make it more like the spaces lived in. Add a little story behind the place. I have these 7 guys. They're actually from an old TV show that my sister and I absolutely adore. And so I just thought, how many? I have to put 7. And so then I thought of a show that had 7 characters in it. I just looked them up on the gallery. So thank you for the people who are really good at making Sims and because that's not my forte. I like building, not making. And so I've got these 7 men from this old show that I love, called Hogan's Heroes. If any of you have ever seen it, it's a classic. I decided over in this little section that I'm sectioning off because obviously it has to be one room, but that doesn't mean that I can't place walls inside the house. I just can't enclose them into a single room themselves. So fitting these 7 guys in, I decided to make this area over here like the bedroom. And so I'm trying to fit 7 beds in this tiny area and make sure that they're actually functional, which is why I brought these 7 guys with me so that I can play it and have them go try out the beds and things like that, which I did at the end, I believe. I'll probably cut that out, but I won't put this up on the gallery um, unless it's functional. And if it isn't functional, then RIP on me, you guys. That's my fault. Anyway, so this is me deciding I wanted all the tops of the beds to look the same, but then I tried to add a little variety. It's really nice that in The Sims, when you put bunk beds in, you can um, you can take the bottom bunk beds out and swap them for a different kind of bed completely. You could even put a double bed in there if you wanted to. It would just have to be, sideways, and so that people could actually get onto it. But um, you can see that I've kind of enclosed the space off, and I'm trying to create a makeshift door for my bunk bed room with curtains. Because what else are you supposed to do? It's really nice because when there's not a wall there, you can just kind of free place a curtain. If you hold the Alt key down, you can kind of just smoothly place the curtain wherever you want. And so now that I've got the layout for that bedroom, I needed to find a layout for the bathroom, and then I could find an area for a little, area for the kitchen and dining and living spaces if I can fit it in. So this is the area I decided I wanted to be the bathroom. So I'm trying to figure out what curtain I want to use over that since I've got a small budget. And these Hogan's heroes in the show, they live in kind of like a barracks. They're prisoners of war. Anyway, go look up the show. It's good. It's a classic show. It's a comedy. But I wanted to add a little of that rustic as well. You can see I've got some little lanterns, and I added this tarp from the werewolf pack as curtains, which was really nice. I keep forgetting to save my game, so I'm glad that I remembered to do that every once in a while in here. I ended up getting, for both of the rooms, I ended up kind of putting a few different curtains down to kind of add a little extra protection because obviously there's not much you can do when you've got the bathroom connected to the rest of your house. It's kind of hard to not have your Sims constantly walking in on each other and being like super embarrassed for the next 4 years because they saw each other on the toilet or whatever. But I, going along with that rustic theme, I kind of wanted to, find more of a metally feel with this bathroom rather than like a more clean, polished feel. And so you can see me working with that here, trying to figure out if I want to, what warm tones, what swatches I'm looking for, and I can try to find. I eventually land on some swatches. Um, Although I think the metal on the walls is a little less warm toned, but I kept the floor and the toilet I feel is still warm, and so I I'm I'm pretty pleased with that. It's hard to fit a lot of things in a build like this. So when you got a budget and when you don't have much space, and so I ended up choosing a shower rather than a shower tub combo. Although it would be nice to have a shower tub combo, but they're 7 men. They don't need a bathtub. It's fine. In a prisoner of war camp, they probably wouldn't have many great amenities either. I ended up trying to fit in a bathtub as well as a shower, and we'll see how well I fit that in. I think I ended up switching their places later, but um, I wanted to find dividers, ways to split up the room so that I could, you know, have my Sims be a little more private when they're chilling in there. This is just a divider from Dine Out that I was trying to size down or size up and figure out where to put it. but I was struggling with the placement. I eventually landed on something. Anyway, as this build is going on, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. Maybe this is a bad idea. I used this thing from the laundry kit, which I absolutely love. Oh my gosh, one of my favorite kits ever. And I don't even own all the kits, but I just love the laundry kit so much. Um, my name is Ruth. I This is my first real YouTube video that I've ever made, so I don't expect many people will watch this. But I just recently started a new semester at college, the college that I'm going to, and that I have been going to for several years. I'm finishing up my third year at this college, and I was like, man, I need a little spice in my life, you know? I don't know. I wanted something different, and I've been playing The Sims recently. I don't I recently my sister was creating the Justice League on The Sims, and she was like, "Oh, they need a house," and I was like, "Oh, I volunteer as tribute." And so I gave her a Wayne Manor. I built it for her, which I thought was really fun. Although it took me 7 years, I'm actually not done with it yet, but it's coming along very nicely. And when I am done with it, I will upload to the gallery. With the towels here, you can see that I took one pair of towels and I set it on the ground, and then I sized down using the 9 key. I mean, not the 9 key, sorry, the bracket keys. You can size up and down objects, and the 9 key will raise the objects. So I sized down the little towel and put it on top of the other towel so that it looks like a little washcloth in the bathroom, which is pretty nice. And I'm moving on to the kitchen now, which is great. So good luck me trying to fit everything in this. One thing I struggle with kitchens is that I want to put every type of the counter and cabinet pieces in that I possibly can. Like, I want to get one of every end piece, and one of every corner piece, and one of every, counter or island piece. So it's a struggle when I'm like, I can't. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't. I just have to come to terms with the fact that I can't. And so that's kind of how it was with this kitchen, because there's just not any room, but that's all right. So I'll be uploading that um, Wayne Manor to the gallery at some point in my lifetime. We'll see if I ever finish it. I don't know. These are the kitchen cabinets and countertops from the cottage living pack, which I absolutely love. It's another great pack, I think. I mean, as far as build stuff goes, I don't really know anything about gameplay. I don't really do much of it, but I absolutely love the build items in cottage living. It's one of my favorite ones, and along with Get Together, you can see I'm choosing very cheap options here because I said they could be clean, yes, but they're also cheap. And so that book on the floor doesn't mean that it's dirty. The book is there because it's serving a purpose. It doesn't make it dirty, it just makes it purposeful to hold up the table so that the table is the right height. I wanted to try to fit in a little bar anyway, but I wish I could have in this build, but I don't think I ended up fitting one in, which is all right, alas. But as it goes. I often, one thing I like to do is kind of sink in a little range hood, to go above the stove, help with the fires and stuff, under a cabinet, because I just love putting as many cabinets as I possibly can into builds. And so um, I did that with this one. I kind of sunk it underneath a different one. Don't forget a trash can, a friendly reminder. I kind of squeezed those cabinets a little bit. The counters, you saw that I did that at a different point as well. Kind of stretch it out, squeeze it a little bit to be just the right size that I wanted. I'm adding kind of a little back porch as well. I thought that might be fun so that I could add a little back entrance. And also, don't forget ceilings. Don't forget to paint the ceilings. I do that all the time. And then you get into gameplay and you're like, all the ceilings are blank and white, and it's tragic. But oh well. So I added a little back porch here, and I thought I could add, you want to add as many activities for the Sims to do as you can. And so I added a little chess table on the back porch so that our boys would have something to do out there, which is nice. I just wanted to fit as many activities in this house as I possibly could. So that's one down so far. We'll see what else I managed to fit in here because I'm on a budget. As you can see, I'm down to 14,000 now, but it looks like I finished the kitchen. So what all that I have left with my 14,000, I feel like I'm doing pretty good with with the budget. I also use, especially when I get to the landscaping, you'll see I used a lot of debug landscaping. And this is a life hack for me. I just started realizing this. I also debated a lot on what couch to use. So watch me struggle with that for 17 years. Good luck. One thing I love doing with debug is you go on to the filter items over on that little right hand side above the catalog, and you can filter into a specific pack. And then I click debug. You use the hacks that, if you don't know, look them up anywhere, you'll find them. I think it's you put testing cheats space true into the cheat code area, and then you type bb dot show hidden objects and bb dot show live edit objects. And then you can type debug into the little search bar down here in the catalog, and it will open up all these debug items that usually the developers use to fill the worlds. And so if you filter onto a specific pack, which I don't think I did for this one. I built this before I knew this hack, and so I just struggled with like scrolling through the debug catalog, which is massive, by the way, because the amount of packs that are there, the more packs you have, RIP. I love that little hack of putting extra pillows onto couches to make it look extra lived in. It's pretty nice. So I did that on the porch outside, as you can see. I wanted to change up the curtains as well a little bit so that they're not all exactly the same curtains. Change the curtains in the bedroom. Added a little toolkit so people can use that. A little TV, very cheap TV. Because that's, nice. Me trying to clutter up the space. Because it's an entryway. And it's a living space, living room area to watch TV and things like that. I use a lot of little, I don't know, I tried to be as succinct as I could with the things that I placed here. And here's the part where I struggle with the couches. I just went through the catalog, found a gazillion couches, and I said, which one matches the most? And then I said, you know what? It might be dirty. It's not dirty. It might be old. It might be patched, but that doesn't mean that it's not clean. So they can still be clean. And also, look at that worn rug. It's fallen apart, but that's okay because it's clean. Because there's 7 of them. You'd think they'd be able to clean their own place, especially with it only being this size. This is tiny. I added some knitting, and this is me clearly. Sometimes in my builds, I'll literally just hit the activities tab on the catalog, and I'll literally look through them all and see what activities I'm missing. Oh, I guess maybe I did get a bar in this. That's great. Good for me. And so you can see that I'm just pulling out things that I wish that I would like to add to the build that I don't know if I'll be able to, but I would like to. So I added a clothesline so that they could do their laundry, and of that little wash basin outside, which means tragically they will be doing their laundry outside, but I didn't know where to put it inside, so that's where it's going. So these are just all the activities that I can find that I would like to have these Sims do. I'm looking at, it's showing me gardening, fires, it's showing me things like chess and darts, games like that. And so I threw in a dart board inside. I think I'm going see that I'm doing some cheats now and throwing in some debug plants if I can find them anyway. I tried to match the plants of this world a little bit, but if you filter onto the pack, that belongs to the world. So like if you're gonna go to the world that you get with the cottage living pack, then you filter to just cottage living and then go to debug. It will show you all of the debug objects for only cottage living. So there will be free plants and trees that they use. I also, for sake of money, because I'm down to 4,000, as you can see, I use these little boxes of flowers, raise them up to be window boxes, even though I don't think that's what they're meant to be, but that is what they are now, because I found them in debug and I said that they were. Um, you'll also have to forgive me because that fence I know clips directly into the window. But you know what? You do what you gotta do, and that's okay. I started putting those plants down around the house, and then I realized later that they were in plant boxes that you can just like barely see underneath them. So I ended up deleting them all and replacing them with low-lying flowers of some other kind. I'm just trying to fill up a little of the yard using some rocks and bushes and things like that. I like when you hold the Alt key, you can kind of spread the fauna or rock or whatever item it is you're placing out beyond the boundary of the house, as you can see that I'm doing with the bushes, which I think makes it, I don't know, it makes it feel less like it's just a big like it's you're in a big box and you're trapped there, because sometimes I feel like my builds look like they're literally in a rectangle shape, which, you know, if you put a fence down and put your stuff inside the fence, then that's great. But I didn't do a fence for this build. There's not a fence next door, and I didn't want to do a fence, so I tried to blend the fauna into the yard next door and into the path behind the lot so that it just kind of is more seamless. I size up and size down flowers and plants so that I can get a little variety, throw some rocks in there and things like that. Um, and then, you know, you add a little touch of terrain and it looks, you know, it starts looking like a real place. For the sake of, also, I don't think I'm doing this right now, but I will later. For the sake of having only one bathroom in there for all 7 of those men, which is a lot of men for only one bathroom. I know, I realize. I'm fairly certain that I put a little pea bush outside in the corner in the back by that big tree and all those plants so that they would, you know, in an emergency have somewhere to go that is okay, you know? So that's nice. Here I found these little pavers in debug, and I'm going to skip to the end so you don't have to see all of it, but I made a little path to a little campfire in the back, and I a little path to the front, to the sidewalk, and then I'm going through and I'm adding all this terrain, adding a few, you know, little flowers. I love this little touch with the debug car. I made it look like the car is driven on and off of the um, grass, and that they just store it under that tree because they don't have a garage, and they don't even have any, you know, concrete to store it on, so they just leave it out there in the grass, which I think is funny. I ended up using some laundry rugs for this room to make it a little more cozy. And then after I think I finished this outside, I needed to go back into the bedroom because I only placed beds. I didn't place any wardrobes or any clutter. And if you couldn't tell already, clutter is like my favorite thing in the world. So I needed to go in and add some clutter. I tried to make the beds a little more different, as different as I could, but I wanted them to all have that little triangle peak. So I just all the top three beds had to kind of stay in those swatches. Um, I there's that little pea bush. I tried to add as many little nightstands as I could, and then I tried to add, I think, one big kind of wardrobe on the wall over that one single bed so that all of them could use that wardrobe. They all get their own drawer, I think, or something like that. I know, yes, fire hazard, putting the candle next to all of the little beds, but you know, what are you gonna do? Um, and then I just love cluttering this space up, putting some mirrors or art, lamps, I love one thing that I do love to do, and you'll see it later, is on like a corner of a bed, like a bottom corner where their feet usually go. I will put like a little book, or I use that sometimes, and I'll put it like on the end of a bed so that it looks like they were sitting on the bed and doing stuff, which is literally me all the time. I sit on my bed all the time and do stuff. So I did that. You can see I'm using the modular um, wardrobe so that I can kind of fit it over the top of uh, that single bed down there because we just don't have the room. You can see that I'm, trying to clutter up the place, make it look more, lived in, which isn't very hard in a space this small. I wanted to find some bookshelves to put on the wall, and I had to match the red that I'm kind of tying in because that's that warm color. I threw that easel outside, I think, so that I could still have more activities. I put the seasons decorating boxes inside, which is nice. So now that I've kind of finished that little build, I want to open up Sims and show you what I've got so you can see it. Okay, so we are loading in right now, which is really nice. You can see that my little guys are having fun with each other, dancing and stuff like that. They fit really cozily in here. So here's what it looks like. Let me hop into build mode so I can make it daytime, which is nice. Um, as you can see, we ended up having a little car over here in the dirt and these bushes. We've got a little grill area back in the backyard and some, planting areas. We've got a telescope and an easel outside, so there's some good activities for the Sims to do. We've even got a little punching bag so they can exercise outside, a little grill. Clearly, they need to clean up. LeBeau is playing by himself on the chessboard, which is hilarious. And then inside, this is what it looks like. Here's the bathroom, my little bathroom that I created. It's not much room, but it seems like it's just enough for them. I'm surprised that I was able to get them a little bathtub and a shower, kind of get that rustic feel. They've got, like I said, the little bookshelves, and I loved these seasons boxes. If you put them in a build, they're always really useful because your Sims can therefore use them to decorate whatever season it is. If you've got the seasons pack, it's really nice. Here's the bedroom I mentioned with the little bunk beds and all the clutter. Lots of clothes and shoes and just beds everywhere for these 7 fully grown men. I see Clink is watching the tiny little television because that's all I could afford. And you know what? The show's from the 60s, so that's. And it's set in the 40s, so they wouldn't have a TV much better than that anyway. Um, we've got, a nice little entryway into a kitchen, kind of fit. One thing I didn't realize that I will say, remember this, my friends, that you need to have at least one empty counter space. Otherwise, your Sims cannot cook and they cannot use the kitchen functionally. They need a counter space. So don't forget that. Otherwise, because I used to just fill the counters up so much with clutter that they couldn't even use them. So that sucks for me. But this is the build. So thank you, Plumbella, for your challenge. Those are the windows I chose in the end on the top up there, which is nice. I loved it. It was really fun. And I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.